Hey guys, my name is Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. You are about to watch a full-length workout from my online members area here free on YouTube, so you can check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. I encourage you to check out some of the links in the description if you want to learn more about ManFlow Yoga, or if you want to get started with a free beginners program. I have a 7-day intro, which is free, no credit card required, and it's an awesome way to get started in just about 15 minutes per day. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. We put out tons of workouts and content every week, and I hope you enjoy this workout. Be sure to like it.
Hey guys, it's Dean with ManFlow Yoga. Welcome to the Perfect Squat program. This is Strength 1. So this is the first workout in this workout series, and this workout will focus on everything that goes into a squat as far as strength goes. So we'll be working on core strength, we'll be working on lower body strength, we'll also be working on flexibility. So the main focus is not flexibility, but as you get deeper into these poses, as you progress through the workout, your range of motion will increase and you'll get deeper and deeper into the squat. There'll be several opportunities throughout the workout to go into the perfect squat, to work deep into it, get as low as you can while using your core strength and keeping your back flat. But again, we've got a ton of stuff in this workout, and squatting is just a tiny part of what it all includes. Let's get started. We're going to start off in a supine bicycle. So on your back with your knees pressing together, knees just over your hips, your hands behind your neck, your shoulder blades retracted, so pulling your shoulder blades into your back and lifting your chest, lifting the sternum. Your lower back is going to be pressed into the ground or just slightly lifted off the ground. So just a tiny bit of an arch there. Go ahead and extend your right leg forward, point the toes, flex the thighs, lift your chest higher, and twist to the left. Again, pointing the toes, keeping the legs active, working on your ankle flexibility. Bring it back in, squeeze your legs together, point the left toes forward now, bring your chest higher, look over toward the right. Working on engaging the core, warming up your abs for today's workout. Bring it back in, keep the chest up, switch sides. Right leg forward now, look to the left. Breathing in and out of the nose. Stay controlled here. Bring it back in and switch sides. Look to the right. Keep the toes pointed. Keep your chest lifted. Keep the left shoulder and the right shoulder lifted. Back to center. One more each side. Point the toes. Chest up high. Sternum up toward the ceiling. Look toward the left. Twist. In and out of the nose. And then back to center. Switch sides. Last one. Twist to the right. And this is crucial for a squat. If you can't keep your body upright with core strength during the squat, you're not going to be able to do it. Back to center. Squeeze your knees together. Bring your knees into your chest. Roll from side to side. Give yourself a little break. Bring your breathing back to normal. And then when you're ready, go ahead and roll up into a standing position. The first exercise on your feet is a squat hold. So your feet should be about 6 inches apart or about 2 fist widths. And then your arms straight out in front with the shoulders relaxed. Push your butt back. Internally rotate your thighs. Engage the core. So that's why we just did that supine bicycle, to teach you what core engagement should feel like. Keep your chest lifted and keep the weight in the balls of your feet and your heels. So you should have the arches of your foot lifted off the ground, pushing down through your feet, not through the toes, no weight in the toes. Engage your glutes, so squeeze your buttock. Sit it down a little bit lower. One more breath here, just warming up all the muscles that we're going to use in a squat. Not going terribly deep yet, just working those muscles. And then forward fold, release your head and neck toward the ground. And if you want to block here, this is where this comes in helpful. If you have limited hamstring flexibility, use the block to help bring the ground up to you so that this forward fold feels relaxing and a good stretch for your hamstrings and your lower back, instead of bending your knees to the point where your quads have to engage to hold you up. All right, from here, drop the butt down, pull your chest forward, lift all the way up, arms overhead, and hands back to center. From here into a warrior one, right foot forward, left foot back, point the left foot out 45 degrees, square your hips toward the front. So the left hip pulls forward, the right hip pulls back, sink into the right knee, and push down hard through your right heel. Engage your core to protect your lower back, and then bring your arms up to goalpost arms. Now, Warrior One is important for the squat because of the hip flexibility involved. So you should feel a stretch in the front of your left hip and even down toward the knee. So stretching the whole inside and the front of your back leg. You'll also feel this front leg really working to hold you up. And then the core is engaged because, again, we want that stability in the squat. The core engagement here is also going to protect your lower back from impingement. So if you're bending too deep into it and your lower back hurts, bring your feet a little bit closer together. As long as you're feeling a stretch in the front of the left hip, that's the goal. So you're doing it correctly, at least in that sense. All right, go ahead and switch sides. Step the left foot up, step the right foot back. Press into the outer edge of your right foot. And then square your hips up toward the front. Now sink into your left knee. Keep the back leg straight. So your back knee is pressing toward the back, pushing the heel down. So you feel a stretch in the calf. And then again in the front of the right hip, maybe even in the hamstring if you're tighter. Engage your core. So tighten the muscles in the front of your stomach. Scoop or tilt your pelvis to face straight forward. So bringing your butt under your body with that pelvic tilt. And then sink into your front knee. You can also think of pressing your back hip, your right hip, forward and to the left, like you're pushing it toward your right knee. And that will help you get a deeper stretch through the hip. Arms up in goalpost arms. And the goalpost arms are important because in a good squat, in a perfect squat, you want to keep the chest open. You don't want to hunch forward, because if you hunch forward, you round your back, the core disengages. So keep your chest open in a squat and in Warrior One. Go ahead and hold this for one more breath, just working into the flexibility in your right hip. And then go ahead and stand back up, back to mountain, back to standing. From here, moving into what I call a half lift squat. So you're going to take your feet about shoulder width distant, knees just slightly bent, push your butt way back, and lean forward, and then sit down a little bit lower, bring your elbows inside your knees, and pull your torso forward to lengthen your spine. So in this position, in this half lift squat, you'll feel stretching in the hamstrings. And not a lot of people realize that flexible hamstrings are important for a squat, because if you don't have flexible hamstrings, you won't be able to keep your back flat as you sit down into a squat, as you squat down. So hold this, pull the body forward, press your lower back down toward the ground, and squeeze your abs. So you feel a stretch maybe in the lower back as well. And then extend the arms forward and stand all the way back up. Okay, one more of those. Push the butt back, bend the knees slightly, bring the arms inside the knees, pull your torso forward, and then squeeze your knees into your elbows to engage your inner thighs. You can also think of internally rotating your thighs, so that little internal rotation of your thighs, turning the fronts of your thighs to face slightly in, to make sure that you're doing a balanced squat here, making sure that you're using your whole leg and not just the outer leg or the hamstring. And then go ahead and stand all the way back up, pressing the hips forward at the top, contracting your glutes. All right, bring the feet back together. We're going to flow a little bit here. Palms facing forward. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale and forward fold. Bend the knees, bring your chest toward your thighs. Look behind you. Inhale to a half lift. I'm going to pause a little bit here just to explain the half lift, and then I won't do it again. In the half lift, the goal here is to have your back flat. Push the top of your head forward so you're getting length in your torso. Keep the knees bent. Okay, that's going to help you get the back flat. And then you can press your hands to your shins to get length. Or if you have a little more flexibility, you can bring your hands to the ground and pull your body forward. Keep your chin toward your throat so that you're not looking forward and arching your neck. And go ahead and release. Forward fold, back down. Stretch the back of your body. From here, step your left foot to the back. Take it into a runner's lunge. And here we're going to warm up the thighs a little bit more. Push your right hip toward the ground. Keep your back leg straight. And sink your hips down toward the ground to get deeper into your back hip, into your left hip. You can balance lightly on your fingertips if you want here, but don't put too much weight in your hands. Pull your torso forward, push the butt back to keep length in your spine. One more breath here. And then step back up to a forward fold. Look behind you. Inhale to a flat back. This is going to reset, re-lengthen your spine, especially countering that imbalance that we just did, right? One leg was forward, one leg was back. And then forward fold. Release back down. Drop the butt down. Pull your chest forward with a flat back. Stand up all the way. Arms up overhead. Palms touch. Hands back to center. Once more. Inhale your arms up. Exhale and forward fold. Bend the knees. Look behind you. Relax the neck. Inhale to a flat back. Push the top of your head forward. Flatten your back. Stretch your hamstrings and your lower back. And then forward fold. Do a crunch. Bring your chest toward your thighs. And step your right foot to the back for a runner's lunge. Opposite side. Relax your right hip toward the ground. Push your left hip toward the ground. Keep your back leg straight. Lift the knee. Pull your torso forward to keep your torso long and help engage the core. And make sure that your hips are facing straight forward. So if you feel like you're facing out to the side or maybe to the left, look at your belly button and then check where you're facing based on your belly button. Make the necessary adjustment. Face straight forward. And this is good for building strength in the front leg, but also building flexibility in the back hip. All right, go ahead and step back up to a forward fold. Look behind you. Relax the head and neck. Hang heavy. Bring it into a half lift. Again, lengthening the spine, or rather, erecting the spine, engaging the core. Forward fold back down. Look behind you. Drop the butt down. Press down through your heels. Lift your arms up. Flat back. Stand up all the way. And hands back to center. Okay. Inhale your arms up. Exhale and fold down. Bend the knees. Chest to thighs. Look back. Plant your hands. Step into a plank. Push down through the ball mounds of your fingers. So kind of shifting forward out of your wrist. Making sure that you strengthen the forearms. And retract the shoulder blades. So make sure that your shoulder blades are pinned into your back. You can relax your head so you're looking down at the ground. And then keep the knees up, keep the belly button lifted so that you're strengthening your core. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, squeeze your hands toward your feet. All right, go ahead and lower down. Keep your arms in tight to your sides as you go down. Keep your chest open. Flip your feet. Lift up into a cobra. So just lifting your chest off the ground just a tiny bit. Squeezing your legs together. Internally rotating your thighs so all 10 toes are on the ground, and pressing your belly button into the ground using your core strength. Maybe using your hands to pull your body forward just a little bit, squeezing your arms into your sides. And this is so important because core strength is not just your abs, it's also your back. So this is strengthening your lower back and your core. Go ahead and release down. And from here, moving into a down dog. So before we move into down dog, let's set up. Hands just a little bit wider than you'd have them for a plank. This is where a wider mat comes in handy for guys. Fingers, your index fingers facing slightly out. Shoulder blades retracted. Shoulders down away from the ears. And then tuck the toes. Lift your knees off the ground. Push your butt up and back. Press down firmly through your hands. and try and make your back as flat as possible. One thing that really helps, bend the knees, reposition so that you feel your core engaged, and then push your butt back from there to feel the stretch more in your lower back. You can relax your heels toward the ground or actively push your heels down toward the ground for a stretch in your calves. And the more you straighten the legs, the deeper the stretch will be for the hamstrings. But if you're tighter, you can bend your knees and you'll still feel a stretch in the hamstrings. Try to keep your spine as long as possible, so don't push back too much through your chest. All right, from here we're going to step up into a deep squat. So step up about halfway, point your toes out slightly, push your butt back and down, just like we did for the half lift squat. Bring your elbows inside your knees, pull your torso forward, and then bring your chest up a little bit higher, extend the arms forward. If you notice that your knees are coming way forward, sit up a little bit higher. Try to keep the knees somewhat behind the toes. And keep your body upright here. And then as we go through this workout, this squat will get deeper and deeper and deeper. Go ahead and stand back up. Okay, bring the feet back together, hands at your sides, back into a mountain. Stand up as tall as you can. Pull your chin in toward your throat. Press the top of your head up toward the ceiling. One breath here at the top. Let it out, relax the shoulders. Step the left foot to the back. Take it into a low lunge. Untuck the back foot. From the low lunge, I want you to square your hips up totally to the front. So pull your right hip down and back. Make sure that your belly button is facing straight forward. And make sure that the back of your right leg is working here. So push down hard through the right foot, through the heel and through the ball of the foot. Feel your glute and your hamstring working here. Hips squared up toward the front. Stretching in the left hip. And then arms up to goalpost arms. From here, tuck the back toes without changing anything in your hips. Straighten the back leg while contracting the core to protect your lower back and keep good form in your core. If you feel pain in your lower back or pinching, bring your feet a little bit closer together. One breath here. Keep the chin in toward the throat. Keep the arms pushing out wide. Keep pushing down through the right heel. And then bring your arms along your sides. And with as much control as possible, and maybe as slowly as you want to go, take this into an airplane. So push down through the right foot, lean forward, lightly lift your left leg off the ground, press down through the right foot. Left hip is going to spin down, right hip is going to turn out to face sideways, and then point the toes. So lock out the left leg. Pull your torso forward. Suck your belly button up into your lower back. Arms still along the sides of your body. Chin to throat, neck pressing up toward the ceiling. Airplane. Lean forward a little bit more. Try to make a straight line from your back toes to your head. One more breath here. And this is fantastic for strengthening the glute and opening up the hamstring while working the core. And go ahead and step back slowly to a high lunge. Arms overhead. And then step back up to mountain with control. Switching sides. Step your right foot to the back. Take the right knee down. Untuck the back foot. Same thing before. Push down through the left heel. Push down through the ball of the left foot. Make sure that your core, that your hips are facing straight forward. Make sure that you feel a stretch in the right hip. If you're not feeling a stretch in the right hip, you might be pulling the right hip forward too much, or you might not be deep enough. So maybe walk the left foot forward a little more, or pull the right hip back slightly. So from this low position, without changing anything, we're going to tuck the back toes, bring the arms overhead into goalpost arms, and then straighten the back leg while contracting the core to protect your lower back. That should deepen the stretch in the front of your hip. Should make this stretch a lot more active, this posture a lot more active. And we want to open up the hip because more range of motion in your hips means a better squat. It also means stronger legs, less back pain, and quicker recovery as well. So lots of good things. All right, from here, moving into the airplane lunge. The airplane. So arms come along the sides, palms facing forward. Lean over your front leg. Press down through the left foot. Drag your right foot forward while pushing down through your left foot. Point your right toes to the back. Bring your torso forward so that your hips are stacked right above your ankles. And really keep the right leg strong here. So don't make the mistake of just using your left leg in airplane. Your lifted leg is going to be just as active. Chin in toward the throat so you're looking down, and pull the neck up toward the ceiling to keep your back long and stack your spine. This is fantastic for core strength, for building balance, and for opening up the hamstring. You can bend your left leg as much as you want to if you need to do that based on your hamstring flexibility. Keep the chest open. And then slowly step back to a high lunge with control. Bring the arms up, back to where we started. And then go ahead and step back up to standing. Stand up tall, pull your chin in toward your throat. Thighs internally rotated, palms facing forward. Take one breath here. Release, side out, exhale. All right, into a figure four balance. So we're gonna start with the right leg. Now, keep your hips behind your front toes. Cross your left leg over your right knee. So your ankle is stacked on top of the thigh. Relax the left knee. And then sink down into a one-legged squat. Not going super low here, just bringing the butt back and bending the knees a little bit, bending the knee, the standing leg, a little bit. Now lightly press, very, very lightly, press your left knee toward the ground and lift the torso. So try to keep your back flat here. So this is going to strengthen the right leg, and it's going to stretch the glute of the left leg. So it's stretching your buttock, and it's also strengthening your whole right leg. You can bring your hands to prayer or bring your arms out wide into a tree, goalpost arms, whatever you want to do to help you balance here. If you need a little more help, grab onto a wall or a pole or something. All right, go ahead and stand back up. We're going to switch sides, go to the other leg. So now balancing on the left leg, cross your right leg over the left thigh. Stand up tall. Make sure that your hips stay behind your left foot. So don't let your hips go out to the side like this. And then sink down. Keep the toes again, or the hips behind the toes. Reach your toes toward your shin. So this right leg is going to be really active here. Keep the knee behind the toes. Lift your chest. Lightly press the right knee toward the ground to get that stretch in your right buttock. And you might even feel that stretch in the lower back. Pull your torso forward and up, engaging the core, keeping your chest open, and sit down a little bit lower. Go down a little bit lower. Now this is really important because you rarely stretch your glutes. This is one of the few stretches that you can do to actually stretch your external hip rotators. This is going to help make you stronger in your glutes, make you better in sprints, better in squats, better in lunges, and also reduce lower back pain from sitting throughout the day. Go ahead and stand back up. You might not have seen it, but I fell out. All right, we're gonna go back to standing, toes touching, palms at your sides, palms facing forward. Inhale your arms up. Exhale and forward fold. Bend your knees, look behind you, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Pull your body forward, flatten out the back. Exhale, forward fold. Look behind you, plant the hands, step back to a plank. Make sure that you're pushing down into the ball mounds of your fingers. Biceps facing forward. Shoulder blades pinned into your back. Back as wide as you can make it. Belly button lifted. Go ahead and lower slowly with control all the way down while keeping your chest open. Flip your feet. Lift up into cobra. Remember, all 10 toes on the ground, thighs internally rotated, core engaged and pushing into the floor, arms pinched into your sides, chest opened, and then forward fold. Well, release back down. From here, take it back into a down dog. Fingers spread wide. Index fingers facing slightly out. Shoulders stable. Tuck the toes, push your butt up and back for a down dog. And the more we do these poses, so every time you come back to a pose that we've already done, notice how you get deeper into it. So you're probably a little bit deeper than you were before into down dog. And that's just how these workouts work. You get deeper into the poses as you go on. Your body gets more flexible. It gets warmer. So it's kind of cool to see, instant progress. All right. From here, bring it into a plank and pull your right knee to your right elbow. Look forward and squeeze your heel in toward your butt. So this is going to strengthen your core. You're also strengthening the back of your right leg, squeezing your heel in toward your butt. Try to keep your chest open. All right, lift your right leg back up into three-legged dog. Press your heel back, and then step your right foot all the way up between your hands. If it doesn't make it all the way there, grab your ankle with your right foot, pull it up. Back into a runner's lunge. We've been here before. Press the right hip down. Make sure you're using your right leg. Keep the left leg strong as well. Lift up into a high lunge. Working on opening up the hip in the back hip. So use this stretch to deepen in your left hip. Bring your right hand to your right thigh. We're going to go side stretch. So lift your left arm up and over to the right for an even deeper stretch in the left hip. Also, this will challenge your balance a little bit more. Keep the chin up, keep the arm back. One more breath. Bring it back to center. Lower your hands down with control, and then step back to a plank, back into down dog. Bring your toes to touch, and then lift your left leg up in the air for another three-legged dog, and bring your heel toward your butt, and then open up your hip to the side. Press your left heel up and over to the right, and further open that left hip. And the more you push your knee up, the more you press your foot over to the side, the deeper the stretch is going to be. Push down through your left hand so that you're keeping your shoulders balanced here, and squeeze your right thigh. Open up a little bit more, lift the knee higher, feel that stretch on the inner hip. And then go ahead and bring the knee to your elbow, look forward, hold it. Squeeze your heel in toward your butt. Keep your chest as open as possible. Try to use your back in addition to your chest. You don't want to make an imbalance in your chest from these planks. Lift your left leg back up in the air, and then step your foot up between your hands. Try and get it up all the way. If it doesn't, left hand to left ankle. Push your left hip down. Keep the right leg straight and lift up all the way into high lunge. Relax the shoulders. If you want, bring it into goalpost arms for more of a chest stretch. Keep your hips facing straight forward. Left hip pushes down, right hip pulls up and forward. Make sure that you're feeling a stretch in the right hip. You need to go deeper, walk your foot forward more, or sink deeper, but keep the back leg straight and avoid pinching in your lower back. So that little tilt to bring your butt under your torso. Left hand to your left thigh, right arm up in the air, reach up and over to the left, and deepen the stretch in your hip flexor. The more you tighten this leg, the more you tighten the core, tightening the right leg and tightening the abs, the deeper the stretch is going to be in your hips. Sink a little bit deeper, reach your arm up over a little bit more. One more breath. And then take it back to center. Lower your hands down with control. Take it back into a plank. And then from here back into a down dog. Opening up that right hip a little more. Bring your toes to touch. Lift your right leg up into three-legged dog. Bring your right heel toward your butt. Open up your hips to the side. Press your right heel up and over to the left. Press your knee up high. Press down hard through your right hand to keep your shoulders balanced. Flex your left thigh. Press your heel down. Couple breaths here, opening up the thigh. So this is somewhat of a passive stretch because the hip is just kind of opening up because of gravity. But it's also active. We're also pushing that heel over and opening it up. One more breath here. All right, go ahead and relax that foot down. From here, step up into a deep squat. So feet about halfway up the mat, toes facing out. Drop your butt down, elbows inside the knees. Pull your chest forward and up. And then once your chest is up, once your butt is down, Bring your arms out in front of you for a deep squat. Try to make sure your back is flat here. So if you go deeper and deeper, just make sure that you're leaning back and flattening out your back, making sure that your core is engaged here. We've got one more breath in this deep squat. So you can go a little bit lower. Tighten your glutes. Make sure that your glutes are engaged here. And then stand up all the way. Press your hips forward. Contract your glutes. All right. Moving into a wide-legged forward fold. Turn sideways. If you want if you're tightening your hamstrings or your adductors, grab your block, place it in front of the mat. Press into the outer edge of your feet with your feet about 4 to 6 feet apart, just depending on your height. Press your hips forward, contract your thighs. If you're really tight in your hamstrings, bend your knees, okay? And then with your core engaged, forward fold here. Bring your hands to the thigh, to the block at first, and then relax your chest. Use your core strength to fold deeper and get a stretch through your lower back. If you can comfortably bring your hands to the ground, try straightening your legs by contracting your thighs, so squeezing your quads, and then use your core strength to further fold into this. So using your core strength to get a deeper stretch through your lower back. It's important to have strength to be able to contract and flex as much as possible. But the other end of that is having a range of motion. So being able to do the exact opposite and stretch or extend as much as possible. You can even reach your hands back between your legs. Maybe even rest the top of your head on the ground to get a better stretch. Or take your feet out wider. All right. From here, we're going to go into a Warrior 2 lunge. Turn your right foot out, and then bring your hands inside your right foot. Sink into your right knee. Bring your hips in the direction to the left, so in the direction that you were facing before. And then sink into your right knee. So this is a really cool variation of Warrior 2 that allows you to get deep into your hip flexibility without using your core or without being upright. So it allows you to focus on the flexibility aspect instead of the balance and the core strength and everything else that goes into Warrior 2. Relax your neck and look back at your left foot. One breath here. Sink a little bit deeper. All right. And then pivot and switch. Turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out. Bring your hands inside your left foot. One leg might be more flexible than the other. So if you need to, bring your feet a little bit closer together. Try to keep your knee above your ankle in the front foot. Bring your hips in the direction that you were facing for that wide-legged forward fold. And then look back at your right foot. It's important to keep this right leg active as well. So don't put all the weight in your one left leg. That's not going to make your body happy, especially your left leg. Sink down a little bit deeper. Use your exhale to get deeper. So as you're breathing out, as you're exhaling, as you're relaxing, sinking toward the ground. All right, turn that foot back in. And then from here, hands to the hips. Use your core strength, use your glute strength. Bring it all the way back up. And now into the real Warrior 2. Turn your right leg to face out to the side. Sink into your right knee. Knee over the ankle. Squeezing the legs toward one another. Hips lightly pressing forward. Shoulders pulling back. The ribs pulling up away from the hips to help create more space in the groin, which is the goal of this posture. And again, sinking into that right knee while squeezing your legs toward one another to engage your inner thigh muscles. And that's something that's one of the biggest issues in squats is that we're not engaging these muscles on the insides of our thighs. That internal rotation, which is caused by the inner muscles, is not happening. So make sure you're squeezing your legs toward one another in this Warrior 2 pose, and that's going to translate into a better squat. Make sure that your knee is over to the right here, so you're engaging the right glute and opening up the inside of the right thigh. All right, we're gonna switch sides. Go ahead and pivot. Just turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out, and then sink into Warrior 2. Knee over the ankle. Again, hips facing out to the side and ribs pulling up away from the hips for a deeper stretch in the groin. Shoulders stacked on the hips. So as you go deeper into this, your butt's going to want to poke out more behind you. Make sure that you're keeping your core tight. And as you sink deeper, the knee is going straight forward and your core staying engaged. Your hips are staying right between both feet and not going out to the left. Bring the arms up. We're going to go 2 more breaths here. Squeeze the legs toward one another. Push into the outer edge of your back foot. Make sure you're working on that ankle flexibility as well. All right, and then straighten the leg, turn it back in, release your hands. We're gonna go into a deep squat from here. Bring your feet about shoulder width distant. So we've just did a lot of opening on the inner thighs. This is going to make for an even deeper squat than you did before. Squeeze the legs toward one another, bend the knees slightly, push your butt back as far as you can. Make sure that you're using both legs equally. Push your butt down. Internal rotation to the thighs, and external rotation to the hips. I know it gets complicated there. And then pull your chest forward. Use your core strength, so press your lower back forward. Use your core strength to lift up your chest. Bring the arms out in front and sit down lower if you can while keeping the back flat. Look at your heels. Look at your knees in relation to your toes. Does it look the same on both sides? That's a really good way to tell if you're doing your squat differently on one side of the leg and one of the other legs. On one leg and the other. That's what I meant to say. Go ahead and stand all the way up. Press the hips forward. Contract your glutes. All right, we're going to do one more, well, a couple more. But another exercise, another balancing exercise. This is the last balancing exercise. We're going to start in a lunge position. Let's go right foot forward first, because that's what we've been doing all day. Knee over the ankle on the front foot, hips facing forward, arms along your side. From here, take it into an airplane. Keep the knee above the ankle. Keep your hips stacked on top of the ankle. Right hip is going to turn out to the side. If you need a little bit of an assist here, use the block. And use the block in about 1.5 feet in front of your right foot, or about a foot, to make sure that your hips are squared, that you're lengthening your torso forward, that your core is engaged. And then once you've got that squared away, your left leg pointing back, keeping the left thigh engaged, bring your hands along your sides. If your lower back starts to hurt, it means that you're not using your core enough. Keep using the core. Slight bend to the right leg. From here into Warrior 3, try to do this without moving your hips. So lift your arms forward and up. Arms out of sight, chin toward your throat, neck pressing up toward the ceiling, trying to make yourself a perfectly balanced teeter-totter. One more breath, really engaging the right leg here, squeezing your glute, and then back to the high lunge. Thank God I had that wall there to help me out. We're going to switch sides. Opposite side, airplane. Step your right foot to the back. Keep the knee over the ankle on the front foot. Engage your left glute. This is critical to this. Keep the back leg lifted. Core engaged. Belly button sucking into your lower back. Arms along your sides. Lean forward. Take it into airplane. Point your right toes to the back. Keep your right leg extremely active here. The right hip is going to turn down. Right leg is probably going to lift up higher than you think it needs to be. And then you're making this straight line from your back toes to your head. Use that block to help stabilize, to help get you in the right position. And then once you're feeling the left glute working, once you're feeling a nice stretch in the outer hip, bring your chest up all the way. So bring your hands off the block, chest up all the way, meaning perpendicular to the wall. And then bring your arms up overhead for airplane 3, for Warrior 3. You've got a couple breaths here. Keep pointing the toes. Keep the neck up. Keep the core strong. One more breath. And then step back to the high lunge. Woo! And step back up to standing. Okay, we're gonna do something that counters the Warrior 3 and the airplane combo we just did with nothing other than squats. It's gonna be a little bit different than what we've been doing today so far. This is a squat walk. So we're gonna start at the top of the mat with your toes facing slightly out. Everything that we've done today for a good squat. So the legs squeezing toward one another, the glutes engaged, thighs internally rotated, pushing the butt down and back, lifting the chest, and then from here, walking all the way to the back. Lifting or hovering your foot for maybe just a fraction of a second, just to challenge the leg that you're on. Making sure that you're feeling this in your glute and your hamstring, not just the glute or the hamstring. Keeping the chest lifted, going all the way to the back, squatting down a little bit lower, and then walking forward, going all the way back. So this is a fantastic core exercise. Your legs should be burning at this point. That's another side effect of this. All the way to the top, sit down a little bit lower, walk all the way to the back. Maybe sit down a little bit lower than you did before, but keep that back flat. Try not to lean forward or round your back. So the core is extremely engaged. Going all the way to the back here, all the way to the back. This mat is a little bit longer than most mats, so I have a harder job than you guys. But then again, this is my job, so I have no excuse. Sit down lower. This is the last walk. Go all the way forward. It's the longest 5 feet of your life, right? All the way forward, keeping the butt down, keeping the chest up, thighs engaged, a little bit lower. Sit down a little bit lower, hold it for 2 breaths. Pull your chest forward and up. Tighten your core. This is it. 1 more breath. And stand up all the way. Press the grips forward, hips forward, squeeze the glutes. All right. And then from here, taking it down to the ground. Strengthening exercises onto your butt. We're gonna do some bridge variations. So if you have a block nearby, grab a block. This is super useful for this. Place the block between your thighs. All right, so you're keeping your legs hip width distant. Bring your heels in toward your butt, and your ankle should be just as wide as your knees, hip width distant. Arms along your sides. Now lift your hips off the ground. Squeeze your legs together. Engage the core. Arch your back. Arms along your sides. So this is bridge. We're strengthening your back, strengthening your glutes. Well, not so much the glutes with the block, but strengthening your hamstrings. Opening up the hips, strengthening your back. All right, let the block drop. So you kind of just dropping the block, and press your right heel out. Keep your leg just about 6 inches off the ground. So you're not bringing it way up here, but keeping it level. Keep the hips lifted. Push down hard through your left heel. Focus on strengthening your left glute. 2 breaths here. Try to keep the weight in your shoulders and not in your neck. You want to avoid putting any weight in the neck, always. And then switch sides. Bring the right leg down, getting the left leg out. Press the heel forward, press down through your right heel, bring the right hip higher. So your hips should be level here, and a good way to tell which one is stronger, look at your hips and see which one is higher. The one that is higher tends to be the stronger one. A little bit higher. We've got 1 more breath here. Squeeze your thigh, contract. And then go ahead and release all the way down. Okay. And that's the workout. Lied. And then from here, moving into boat pose, the final exercise. So for boat pose, bring your heels in toward your butt. This is how we're going to start. Bring your chest up as high as you can. Okay, so the goal here is to make your back flat. So it's a very difficult core exercise. Lean back slightly, okay, because if you're sitting forward, your back's going to be rounded. So lean back slightly. Open up your chest toward the ceiling. Now squeeze your legs together. Bring your hands on either side of you. Lean back and lift up as you lean back, and then bring your feet, just hover your feet off the ground. So we're gonna work on engaging the core, engaging the hip flexors, and making your back as flat as you can by leaning back and lifting up at the same time. So you're not crunching at all here. You're keeping length in the spine. You're keeping length in your torso. You're staying upright. And then if you want to go further here, extend the legs forward. Bring the arms out to the sides. We've got 3 breaths here. Squeeze your legs together. Press your lower back forward and up to help make your back flat and tighten your abs as much as you can. Lift your chest up a little bit higher. Press your lower back up higher. Keep the hip flexors active. Keep the legs squeezing together. One more breath. And go ahead and relax. Woo! All right. So that was the Strength 1 workout of the Perfect Squat series. We're gonna go through a few cool down exercises, so stay with me. I promise that you will be happier that you did these cool down exercises than if you did not do them and skip them. So we're gonna start off with just a really basic quad stretch. So I'll give you 3 levels. You can do a low lunge like this, which also includes your hip flexor. So pushing down through the right foot, leaning forward, slight arch to the back, aiming your chest up. That's version 1. Version 2 is a reclined quad stretch. For that, you can tuck the toes behind you and then lean onto one forearm and then onto the other forearm. If that's painful for your knees, go back to the low lunge option. If you want to go further than that, try the couch stretch. Now the couch stretch, bringing your knee all the way to the wall. You need a wall for this, by the way. So if you don't have one, recline quad stretch. Shin against the wall. Plant your right foot just like you were doing a lunge. And then slowly bring your chest upright. Woo! And that's a really nice stretch for the quad and for the hip flexors. If you want to go even deeper, you can bring your arms up and lean your back toward the wall. And the less arch in your back, so if you can get your lower back all the way to the wall, oh God, you'll get an even deeper stretch. But there's a lot of flexion in your knee here, so if you have any knee problems whatsoever, back off a little bit. All right, go ahead and relax and switch sides. So walking through those options again, we have the low lunge, left foot forward, right knee back, pushing down through the left foot, leaning your hips forward, tightening the core just a little bit, and then feeling a stretch in the front of the right hip, maybe bringing the arms up and looking up for more of a stretch. Reclined quad stretch. So this is the more relaxed version. Tucking the right leg behind you, leaning back onto one forearm, and then maybe onto another forearm, and relaxing this right hip toward the ground, and maybe even going all the way onto your back, as long as there's no pain in your lower back, and you can keep your lower back relatively close to the ground. If your back is arched up high, like you were doing a bridge pose, this isn't the best idea. So go back up to the forearms or the hands. Last option is that couch stretch. So bringing your shin up the wall, planting the left foot, knee over the ankle, and then leaning back toward the wall. Woo! This is some good stuff right here. And this is the couch stretch. And this is really good for building hip flexibility. If it hurts at first, it might hurt at first, breathe into it. Use your breath to relax your body. And once your body relaxes, the stretch is going to get much less intense. And at that point, you know that you've created a difference. You know that you've increased your flexibility because your muscles have lengthened. All right, go ahead and take it down. Woo! All right, next stretch. We're gonna go through some pigeon. So first variation is the reclined figure 4. So for this, crossing your right leg on top of the left thigh, grabbing the back of your left thigh, pulling your thigh in toward your chest, and lightly pressing the right knee forward. Now this might be enough of a stretch. If you have a wall nearby, I encourage you to do this against a wall. So for that, press your left foot into the wall, lightly press the left leg, the right knee forward, keep your back flat on the ground, relax your head on the ground, and this is a truly divine version of figure 4. reclined. This is a really good way to stretch your external hip rotators, to stretch your piriformis, and also to relieve pain or discomfort in the lower back. The other option is going into a full-blown pigeon, and that is bringing the heel in toward your groin, keeping the back leg straight, the top of your back leg facing the ground, your hips squared forward, right glute pressing toward the ground, so pressing your right buttock down and to the right, and then leaning forward as much as possible. You can take it down to the hands, to the forearms, or the arms all the way out in front with the forehead relaxed on the ground. The flatter your back gets here, the lower back gets here, the deeper the stretch is going to be. As long as you're feeling the stretch in the glute and maybe in the lower back a little bit, that is the goal here. All right, let's switch sides. So again, walking through those options, you have reclined figure 4, crossing the left ankle over the right thigh, grabbing the back of the right thigh, lightly pressing your left knee forward, pulling your thigh in toward your chest. This is figure 4, reclined. The next option, if you have a wall, take it up a level, also make the stretch a little bit more relaxing and more effective. Push your right foot into the wall while crossing the left leg over, and lightly press your left knee toward the wall. Relax onto your back with your arms outstretched in either direction. Breathing in and out of the nose. And every time you exhale, pressing your left knee down a little bit more and relaxing a little bit more so that your glutes can relax and stretch and you can open up. Next one, last variation, is the full pigeon. So depending on your flexibility, the closer your heel is in toward your groin, the deeper the stretch is going to feel. So if you haven't done this before, I recommend bringing the heel in. If you're familiar with it, take the heel out a little bit further. Tuck your right leg behind you, top of your right leg facing the ground. Relax your left buttock toward the ground. Push your left buttock toward the ground maybe, as long as that knee is stable. And then slowly lower your chest, first your forearms, then your chest toward the ground. The lower your back, the closer your lower back gets to the ground, the deeper the stretch will be. All right. And we go ahead and come out of that. Remember, if you didn't get the stretch you wanted, just press pause and do it for as long as you'd like. 1 to 2 minutes is a great length. If you only have 30 seconds, that's fine as well. We're going to do one more stretch to help stretch the inner thighs that I was harping on so much in this session. So this is a seated V stretch. So we're going to start with the legs out wide, like this. And sitting as forward as possible, bringing the legs out wide, sitting forward, okay? And then if you can, grab the shins, pull your chest forward and up, and press your lower back forward. Maybe even grab the toes. If this is difficult, sit up against a wall. Make your back flat, and then just lean forward as much as you can. As long as you're feeling the stretch on the inner thigh and then the lower back, that's the goal here. The other variation, we've been using a wall for the last few stretches. With the wall is doing that same thing against the wall. So your back is going to be flat, butt all the way up against the wall. Start with your legs straight up the wall. Bend the knees maybe if you need to. And then take your feet out wide. And then relax your upper body. Relax your arms. And if you're feeling flexible here, you can straighten the legs. And I recommend engaging the thighs at first. So maybe flexing your quads at first, reaching your toes toward you, and then holding that for a breath. And then relaxing. So releasing the thighs, disengaging your quads, and then just letting your legs relax and kind of go to where they feel is a good point to stretch. So at this point, we're not pushing our levels of flexibility. We're letting our body relax because we want to recover more quickly. We want to get back to our workout tomorrow. We don't want to delay in our workout. So, all right, stay here as long as you want. And when you're done, gingerly bring your feet back together. You can stay at the top like this with your legs straight up the wall and then come out of that when you're ready. All right, so that is the Perfect Squat Strength 1 workout. And the next workout is the stretch workout. So I'll see you guys for that 2 days from now. I recommend, again, taking the day off tomorrow so you can let your muscles recover, let your muscles build themselves, because we're only getting stronger while the muscles are rebuilding. You actually get weaker during the workout itself. So, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys on the next workout. Take care, everyone.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. Hope you learned something new. Try to make these workouts very helpful in terms of technique, in terms of learning how to properly engage muscles and build strength with yoga. If you're looking for more workouts, I encourage you to check out the rest of the videos on this YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure I have over 1,000. And if you want more, if you're looking for an organized program to get started, I highly recommend checking out the Manflow Yoga members area. It's just $1 to get started with a 7-day trial. So thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to like this video if you liked any of it. It's really helpful, and I hope to see you on future videos.